If you would like to support Mercado Airwaves, visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Find us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. Keep up to date with the show on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. You can follow Alex on Twitter at Mercado21Alex. Follow Mike on Twitter at mmercado2333 and on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. Mercado Airwaves is brought to you by supporters at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Get ready, get set for the best movie and pop culture talk in the universe. It's The Good Brothers on Mercado Airwaves with your hosts, Alex Mercado and Mike Mercado.
How's it going, y'all? Mike and Alex back with another episode of The Good Brothers. We're talking everything wrestling, movies, etc., etc. How's it going, Mike?
What's going on, good brother? Everything is good. How was your week? It was a busy week, man.
It's busy month right now.
Yes.
Leaving for Florida in a few weeks. I know you had a few interviews this morning, so it's been pretty busy around the Mercado Airwaves place. We got another episode of Murders, Mysteries, and More coming out later tonight. Should be a fun one, themed for this special little Friday coming up.
I'm very excited for next week's, which is going to be a very interesting one. We're not going to tease it yet, but I suggest...
Just know Mike will have a lot of impressions still again
Absolutely.
next week.
And if you want to get ahead of your research, boys and girls, Netflix has some stuff for you. That's our teaser for next week's episode.
That literally could be anything, Mike, since Netflix buys everything.
That's a good point. Alex, you said it earlier, it's a busy week, and you and I have had no sleep this week, and it's first world problems because it was WWE weekend, but it was wrestling weekend.
4 days straight, basically, of pretty much. I know wrestling is a must-watch, especially throughout the year. You can probably go a whole month or two without watching anything except for a pay-per-view since they're free.
Right.
But it was like 4 straight days of, okay, I kind of have to watch to see who's getting called up, who's winning this, who's winning that, etc., etc.
And, of course, everything culminated at Wrestlemania in New Orleans, and new storylines came up on Monday and Tuesday on Raw and SmackDown. Some interesting news. So why don't we go ahead? We did a predictions for both. I did my predictions on NXT. You were with us on Sunday at a special edition of The Good Brothers for WrestleMania.
My predictions.
Yeah.
I believe I got the ladder match was the only thing that we pretty much differed on. Everything else is pretty much down the middle. We got right.
So let's go ahead and just really fast. Let's. What did you think about NXT Takeover New Orleans?
Better than WrestleMania.
Better than WrestleMania.
Way better.
And obviously, I think that's an easy, internet trope that NXT is better than WrestleMania. But it really is. It really is. This isn't like a sarcastic, because we hate WWE. It's like, no, we sit there and we watch all the programming.
You're not going to find, usually when they say those sort of things, you find a couple of 50-50, 60-40. This is like a 95-5 where 95% of people are going to find NXT better.
Yeah. And
it's a given.
So what was your match tonight when it came to TakeOver?
Oh, the ladder match.
So you like the way it opened. And you had an interesting point. Why don't you go ahead? You and Marcos, who was with us all weekend, too, Trooper Marcos, who doesn't even get on the air but watch all the programming with us. You brought up an interesting point to him. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what your thoughts of the ladder match opening and the rest of the TakeOver?
See, the more I thought about it, at first I told you, I'm like, I don't like how the ladder match took away from the rest of the night until the main event. But then I'm also like, if it's a movie, that's kind of how the movie works, though. It's like you got to have a strong beginning, you have to have a good middle, and you have to have a strong going out. But so I guess right when it happened, I was like, man, I got really bored midway. But then I'm like, it wasn't bad, though. It's just it's going to be hard to live up to that beginning. But the ending brought it back home, so you're like, okay, actually, that's probably the smartest thing, because had you put that ladder match in the middle, I don't know if the card looks the same. I don't know if it adds up the same, because what's going to really open the night then?
That's an interesting point, but
all you can really switch is the beginning and the opening.
And NXT has the I don't know if it's the privilege or if it has the luck of the programming isn't watched and dissected as much as Raw and SmackDown. It's shorter.
There'll be guys you don't see for
you
weeks
can almost binge watch it. Yeah. You can almost wait up until to catch up on the whole storyline, and it's one continuous movie. You can Netflix it.
They should I understand, because they should be that good, because you don't have 3 hours plus 2, so 5 hours of television you have to fill in a week.
Right.
You have 1 hour you fill in that you can pre-record with a stacked roster that you don't even you might not see the champion for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because you don't even mind, because
everybody else is getting highlighted.
You don't have 12 shows a year. You have maybe four or five pay-per-views.
At this point, I think they might max out at 6. Spread about every 2 months.
I would say exactly.
Yeah.
They'll throw in the 4 big ones, and then they'll throw in 2.
Chicago's always going to get one. Yeah.
Usually Chicago will get one, and then maybe an extra Brooklyn, maybe an extra whatever.
I'm so excited. We're probably going to do something that maybe Marcos, if you can't make it, will fill in as a good brother. And we'll go see NXT TakeOver Chicago Part 2, and it should be pretty cool.
What's
So
the
Alex,
pay-per-view for that, or is there no pay-per-view?
there's a pay-per-view after Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank Chicago.
We'll probably end up watching both those.
So you know what? Yeah, maybe we'll do a live show for that one if I'm not at the audience itself. But my match of the night obviously was the ladder match. I agree. Adam Cole winning was a phenomenal, like just a fun way to do it.
Everyone did good. Everyone had their moments. Dream, Ricochet.
Yeah, best storyline throughout the pay-per-view was obviously Gargano Ciampa. Like that was the best story.
Yeah, like I said, that match had to
emotional.
deliver because at that point the audience is so drained.
Yeah.
That's an NXT. A smart crowd can't go very long either. Like
because they get it's so intense.
A smart crowd that's a 4-hour show. So like if you don't have a good ending, it really does kill the mode of the show. Which I thought the championship match kind of did. Yeah. It was fine. But I don't think it was as good as the McIntyre one where we saw Almas like
interesting.
Where we saw Almas kind of come back because that was just like crowning. Like, oh my god, he actually won it.
I enjoyed Aleister Black winning though. The title.
I thought his match against Gargano was a little better too because of the interferences
and the emotion of the crowd.
It was great, but it was just very like I think we knew this is where they kind of had to go because I'm probably going to lead to Adam Cole. He's going to be the next one.
I agree
because Ricochet's going to there's all a little booking here and there because you got to go heel next. So who else is going to do it? It's Adam Cole.
Yeah, it's an Adam Cole thing. So great NXT TakeOver New Orleans, and I'm so excited to see the next one, which I think is NXT TakeOver Chicago. Is the next? Be. Yeah,
some matches we'll get that are good. Like the problem with these little ones is like you're not going to get a big change because they're going to have to throw some. They're going to have to get a rematch for Almas, so that's going to be fine. Because I think Almas is going to be bumped up eventually, like pretty soon probably, and. Yeah, it should be fun.
Well, I'm excited. I think it was very enjoyable to watch that one, but then it led up to the big nights. Whether what the thoughts, we'll give our thoughts and grades of WrestleMania.
It's still the Super Bowl, whether it's good or bad.
Exactly, it still showed up. So on the pre-show, we had a few matches. It started off with the men's Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal that had Matt Hardy eliminate Baron Corbin because of now Woken Bray Wyatt, and who's now a tag team on Monday Night Raw going for the tag team titles. Matt Hardy wins it. Your thoughts on the Battle Royal?
It was good. It was fine. Well, look, the Battle Royal sucked, but the ending was it. The ending's the only thing that saved it.
Cedric Alexander is your new Cruiserweight champion as he beat Mustafa Ali, Chicago's own Mustafa Ali. I think this was an awesome underrated match. Buried in the quote-unquote buried in the pre-show because it's just such a long night, but a really fun wrestling match.
It was fine. My problem with 205 Live is they really, ever since Enzo left, they're really lacking a good heel and or heel stable.
I think Cedric Alexander would have been a great heel.
That's the problem. Yeah. Like pretty much either of those guys would have been good heels, but they refused to turn them. And now you're kind of like, okay, like we kind of bought into the tournament, but now it's like, where do we go from here? 205, like
right. What's the next step?
Like I think you do need to start bringing up some NXT guys. But the problem is like, do you necessarily want to see those NXT guys only on 205 Live?
Right. Like, do you want to see Gargano?
It's one of those give or takes. Like, do I want to see these guys on 205 Live? So I'll watch 205 Live, or realistically, am I not going to watch 205 Live? So I'd rather see my favorites on the main roster. It's your, you're not going to get everything you want.
And then the pre-show ended with Naomi eliminating Bayley in a dusty finish. When we see Bayley eliminate Sasha Banks, we think Bayley has won the first ever women's WrestleMania Battle Royal, formerly known as the Fabulous Moolah Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania. Alex, what did you think about Naomi being chosen to be the one that wins it?
They love Naomi.
They do love Naomi.
I mean,
like Naomi a lot.
Fine. She's earned it, but like the whole thing is just dumb because like. That was your chance to really do a storyline, a heel turn. Like, you'll find out even Monday Night Raw, like, they're still not going with it. Like, I don't get what they're trying to do. Like, I guess, like, we always tell them, hey, maybe they're pushing off to SummerSlam. We've been saying that for 2 years now.
Let me ask you something.
Hey, they're pushing to SummerSlam. Hey, now they're going to push to Mania. Now we're like, well, maybe they'll push back to SummerSlam.
How about this, though? Would you be surprised? Would it shock you if next week is the shakeup, one of them ends up on SmackDown, we don't even get anything?
That makes sense.
It sounds like something WWE would do. So Naomi is your first ever winner of that Battle Royal. Then we get to the opener of WrestleMania 34, WrestleMania New Orleans. Seth Rollins is your new Intercontinental Champion.
Probably the most underrated match, honestly.
Yeah, beating The Miz. First. Exactly, beating The Miz and Finn Balor. First of all, your thoughts on Finn Balor not getting the demon? Had a cool entrance because it's kind of the thing he does on social media, but did not have the demon persona. And do you think we should have known this going in when the fact they didn't hype it up? They didn't hype it up at all.
I think it was like hindsight 2020 sort of thing. I do appreciate the way he didn't come out normal. Like he came out and like they're making a big step in the in the gay community.
Yeah,
so,
the LB, GK2. I'm
there's
sorry,
a lot
guys.
of too many letters.
I honestly don't.
There's way too many
remember.
letters.
Yeah.
Nicole usually knows
I'll look
this
it up.
stuff. But being someone that works with in the cheer industry with a lot of gay coaches, majority being a straight coach, you're the minority in this field. It's like they're like some of your closest friends. It's nice to see them represented.
LGBTQ.
Yeah, again, a lot of letters.
Yeah,
it's nice to see them represented, and you can appreciate you know what, dude, yeah, it wasn't a demon, but at least you did something with your it's always the thing we say, do something with your platform.
Right.
You got a platform, do something
use
with
it.
it.
Mm-hmm.
And he definitely is, and it's a good person to use it to be like, hey, if I support them, you wrestling fans, you should support everyone.
Too as well.
Love is love.
Mm-hmm. And Seth Rollins obviously a great hand to have that type of championship with, especially with when we see what happened in the main event. At least for the next few weeks, with the guy who's holding the Universal Championship, you need a guy who could go to your house show as a headline champion.
Exactly.
Nobody better than Seth Rollins to do that.
He's probably going to fight Samoa Joe or something. So.
How about this one, Alex? This one shocked us all while we were watching it at the studio. Then came up Charlotte Flair against Asuka. And Charlotte Flair is your first person to beat Asuka by making her tap out, retaining the SmackDown champion for at least another 24 hours. We'll get to that in just a little bit. I actually really enjoyed this match. I thought it was, looking back at it, it's probably the right decision to make. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it was fine. The right decision to make. My problem is they didn't build it enough for the weeks before. I think that was my biggest issue. And Asuka wasn't even on the show the next few nights. So you're kind of what are they going to do with her? If you had built it up, she goes out there week to week, but they didn't even have any confrontation except for the Mixed Match Challenge that a few people kind of watch or more heard of, but. The match was amazing.
Yeah, the match itself was...
The match was good enough to close the show, WrestleMania. Right. But I think they're saving that for Ronda Flair. I think that's the goal eventually. It's hey...
I told you this
might
before,
be
though.
our main event.
Right.
I think it's the little rumor going around that, no, they're going to main event WrestleMania 35.
Which I think it's a real possibility. This was about 6 months ago when the whole... Right before Rumble, and we were getting to that point where we're all right, she is coming at some point. My whole idea was, if she was going to main event WrestleMania 34, this past WrestleMania, she was going to need somebody who would be able to do the rounds and be able to be the face of the match, because she's not there yet when it comes to it. The easiest, Asuka can't do that.
No.
Charlotte Flair, there's maybe nobody better than doing the media tours than Charlotte Flair.
The problem with Asuka is it's no matter how modern we get, you got to be able to cut a promo, you got to be able to cut an interview.
You got to communicate. You got to be able to communicate in a certain way.
Unless you're a foreign heel, sadly. Because look at Shinsuke.
And we're going to get to that in just a little bit, yeah.
I like Shinsuke so much better right now as a heel, because I'm wow, in one day, I'm dude, you're way cooler now than
2 days,
you were.
We'll get to that in a little bit.
You were way cooler now.
So, just in general,
and I don't like him.
It was a great match. Charlotte's your champion for now.
And
we'll
then
get
Cena
to that.
jumps the rail and kind of ruins the moment just a little bit.
It's a little bit.
But it's a great meme, so I guess we'll take it.
And I kind of get where they're going, because the shine was given to Charlotte. And then, because you got to think about how Bruce Pritchard would sell it. It's one of these things where, okay, cool. Charlotte wins. They hug. They've had their moment. Now,
anything could happen.
Anything can happen. Cena jumps the rail. The referee, is this supposed to happen? Oh my goodness. Cena running through it. He would never do this in it. And then you have Asuka and Charlotte supposedly being fans, though, thinking oh my God, Cena just hurt somebody. Undertaker must be here. We'll get to that in just a little bit, though. Then, to me, this is not a show where we talk, shit about something that we haven't done. We appreciate what these guys do as performers. This is my least favorite match. This wasn't a bad match. This is my least favorite match of the card. Jinder Mahal wins the United States champion over Randy Orton, Bobby Roode, and Rusev. Rusev getting a huge pop. Randy Orton does what Randy Orton does, one of the greatest of all time, but it's a Randy Orton type of effort, which is what it is. Bobby Roode just has not translated into the main roster. I don't know what that is. What's missing there? It could be as simple as writing.
But it's always the thing. The only person to make it from NXT switching positions from heel to face so good is Charlotte.
Charlotte, yeah. And kind of Sasha.
And even you're a big Sasha. I'm not a big
I'm
Sasha
not.
fan.
It's not even having to deal with being a fan. It's somebody who I feel they trust in. That they give
Bobby
that opportunity
Roode,
to.
I think Sasha's a good example of she's like Bobby Roode. She's not gonna hit unless you let her be a heel, because that's what got her so big. They're a cocky heel. He's supposed to be Ric Flair, and you're supposed to. He's just wooing out there, but he needs to be a heel.
Yeah,
make him a heel.
He needs to be a 1%er. The gimmick that they gave EC3 and mix with his
like
glorious
mix,
image.
mix it exactly. Mix that a little bit. But I love Rusev. They're never going to use Rusev. We've established that. Like Rusev, it's about to be buried by the Undertaker in Dubai. So
you can't get over on your own.
Like,
you can't. They don't want you to.
Yeah.
It's just, and you know what? I hate being that guy because here's the thing: we saw with Daniel Bryan, CM Punk kind of had like guys do get over with the fans, and it does help them, but. Some guys, it doesn't matter how over you get. It doesn't matter. If they don't have plans for you, they don't have plans for you.
Hopefully, maybe we'll get, Rusev to Raw. Maybe we'll see something else. I don't know.
Now, I'll tell you this much, though. This, to me, is not only has the match of the night, it has the performers of the night. Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey defeat Triple H and Stephanie McMahon in what shocked the world. Now, let me ask you this. I think the reason why Ronda got over in this match is because wrestling fans saw that, oh, she does have timing. She does get it. Like
she's good.
She's good. She's a natural. Now, here's the thing, though. There is almost a genius to it because look at the match before it is the United States Championship match. The match after it is a squash match with the Bludgeon Brothers. So it's in that perfect spot in the middle of the show where it's like all eyes are on it. There's enough energy in the building for it. They perfectly timed this out. It's perfectly choreographed. And Ronda has timing. She has personality.
Right
in the ring.
moment, right place, right people.
Right people. That's the big thing.
I don't love that. As a Triple H fan, like big diehard fan.
Yeah, you are diehard. I like Triple H, but you love Triple H.
It's just funny that like even me, I'm like, damn, Triple H, like you've had the longest match of WrestleMania the last like 10 years in a row, bro. Like, but I'll also go back to this. I'm like, he also has some of the most losses at WrestleMania.
He puts people over.
You win in the center, you lose in
Losing
the center. 1, 2, 3.
Macho Man, look at the boots. So yeah, it was a cool moment. What does it mean for the future? I don't know. I think it does. I agree with you.
It felt like NXT booking the whole match, where the false finishes, the men on women, the double tap, the hand holding.
We don't know.
There was moments where we're like, wow, like are they going to put themselves over on Kurt and Ronda?
And it's genius
and
they
never
know
were.
But they knew.
But they sold you like, holy shit, like Triple H is going to go over on Kurt, or they're going to let Stephanie go over on Ronda. And no, I love that match. That match
was a great match. It's
my
favorite match.
Most fun match. It's like
favorite match of WrestleMania.
Like when it comes to pure fun, like it's up there. Like you could have put this show on NXT and I would have been happy.
Right. But the fact that it is on WrestleMania is what makes it better. It's what makes it better.
Like,
exactly.
This was entertaining. Like that was probably the biggest pops of the night for us. Like the most.
We had the most fun at that point.
Yeah, I honestly can think like that's what I'm saying. Like that whole match is like you're like, yeah, that was pretty much it. And then Daniel Bryan, but
we'll get to that in just a little bit. But then after that, the Bludgeon Brothers. Finally, Luke Harper and Eric Rowan win the tag team championships over the Usos and the New Day. Now, this is something that the match wasn't as great, but it got the message down. Here's the thing.
It needed to be what it was. I think people were thinking, I think you needed to be smart to realize they weren't going to put on a classic. That wasn't the time to do it.
That's not the time to do it.
That wasn't the time to do it.
That's not the place.
Maybe it'll come eventually, but that time was just like, hey,
get them over.
They've been kicking their ass all week.
Yeah.
They're going to kick their ass.
Yeah, like, get them over, and when we get to Backlash or whatever the next pay-per-view is, we'll let them have their match.
It's going to be what, the Usos and let's give the Usos Bludgeon Brothers, right?
Well, I believe.
Oh no, is that Dubai? See, that's the thing because the Dubai thing is because I think we're going to have some big things happen there, but they're going to have to split it with Backlash. Like, okay, half the big things here, half the big things here. That's how they're going to keep us.
I wonder. See, here's the thing though,
because I think they got the title chance because they fought on SmackDown. So I think that's
to be fair though, it's WWE has this thing because of the network, and they do like hyping things up. This could just be a glorified house show. It really could be. So it could be what NXT has done.
So. I don't feel like it is. I think that's where I think Brock loses the title there.
Brock's going to lose the title.
I think because it's a cage match.
Yeah, it's
you don't got to take it back. I think that's I think we're going to get a few cool things happen there. Honestly,
but that's what I'm saying. Like there might be some huge things that happen. Like obviously Undertaker in the casting match with Rusev. We have the greatest Royal Rumble ever.
Because like Lesnar signs a new deal, but like they never said how long his new deal is for.
Obviously the rumor
that new deal could just be for him to just do
the job.
He's like, hey, give my money. He could have honky talked man though. You know, like for all we know.
Or it could be as simple as he signed a new deal. He's on a new 2-year deal.
It could be that. There was the rumors that he got into it in the backstage. Like they're pretty much known. Like at this point, like when you the rumor with us is always the thing with us is if you hear a rumor, don't go by one source. But when you start getting like 13, 14 sources,
and if it's not from the same originator,
like you're kind of like okay, there's some fire here. Like he probably did get into it with McMahon. So I'm thinking that he just signed over basically for another month.
Which could,
and I think he's going back to UFC. Like that's what he wants to do.
I think in a dream world they do both. I think in a dream world he signs a new WWE deal. He puts himself back into USADA drug policy so that he can get tested over the next year. And next year he has his first fight against either Stipe Miocic or Daniel Cormier for the UFC Heavyweight Championship. That's what I think is going to happen. I think you can have both. I don't see why. We live in a world now where I honestly think Conrad Thompson brought this up on something. Actually, I believe what happened when he believes Vince McMahon is actively trying to sell the company. So let's just play.
I mean, he's trying to do football soon, so I can buy it.
Right. So here's my theory. Right. You have the XFL, you have the UFC, you have WWE, all kind of going to work with his main man in Fox. And I think in that dream world, you're going to want who happens to own the TV rights to the UFC at this point? Fox. Who seems to be the only player to get the UFC a deal with them?
And we also
got
to remember, like, this is the movie show too. Like that, Fox Studios is being actively sold. Yeah. The only thing they're really keeping is Fox TV.
It's Fox TV, the news.
So that's
kind of
so you got to put two and two together. That's where they're putting their money in. Is like, hey,
the NFL,
we're going to put our money into sports and news.
Yeah.
So why it would make sense for them to buy a new property, selling properties. Like it would make sense for them to buy the WWE and be like, okay, we don't have the movies, but we have the movies. We have the XFL. We have UFC still.
Imagine, and this is the thing though, imagine a TV company where it's like they're cool. They're like, cool, we have the NFL during the winter, we have the XFL during the spring, we're cool. Like there's no competition.
We got UFC Saturday nights. We might get some WWE on
Monday and Tuesday.
Monday and Tuesdays.
So I think
push some of our programming.
So I'm just, this is just speculation from two dopes in Chicago, but if you're asking me, sports has been in my life for the last, 15 years. I've done it professionally for 10. This is what I see happening. If you were asking me, put the dots together, TV deals, the bubble that's coming up right now, the cable companies, this is where I think we're heading to. But moving on with WrestleMania, in an interesting moment, obviously Undertaker, John Cena does happen. Undertaker beats John Cena in a squash, like legit squash match. I have two questions. Does this mean we might get a rematch at some point? And what did you think about how Undertaker worked? Shout out to another podcast we listened to. Brandon Galvin on Ring Rust Radio brings up an interesting point that Undertaker can have those type of matches. That's what he's meant for. It's like he doesn't need to work a Finn Balor Seth Rollins match. So with that in mind, you saw how the shape he was in. You saw the type of match he had. The two questions are, does this mean that he's in shape and ready to have a few more matches? Or are we leading up to WrestleMania 35, MetLife Stadium, New York City, Undertaker, John Cena, retirement match? Both men retiring after that night.
It's tough because they can easily do this at SummerSlam.
I agree, but that's why I'm
asking. You want to retire him at WrestleMania?
I think you do want to wrestle. I think you want to retire both of them at WrestleMania, and I think
both of them.
Yeah, I think that's to me the allure is in a retirement match for one or the other. The allure is both men. That's their last match together, and the way it ends is the way it started, with Undertaker shaking young John Cena's hand and saying, welcome, congratulations, good job, and it ends with both men ending the 35th edition of WrestleMania with over 75,000 people in their stadium.
No, I don't think so.
We'll look back at it, but
I think Cena's still got a few more years. He's going to do what The Rock did. He'll be there back and forth. He sells too much right now. I think it is going to be a retirement match for Taker. Where Cena's like, if I beat you, like you're done. Like you're not coming back, no more, whatever. Like that would make more sense. And then he's got to beat him in the middle. Obviously,
in the ring, you lose him.
And then we get the official, like, okay, I'm done. Like you put him in the Hall of Fame the next year. I'm over. Like there will be no more Undertaker.
So maybe WrestleMania at Houston, Reliance Stadium, WrestleMania 36. You put Undertaker into Texas.
Hall of Fame?
Yeah, you do the Hall of Fame right there. Be very interesting. Yeah. So I don't know if it's actually there, but that's, kind of a train of thought. Daniel Bryan makes his return with Shane McMahon and beats Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Again, the best part of this match was the Daniel Bryan entrance. Yeah. The match was what it was. It was just the spectacle.
Shane getting his butt kicked, Daniel making the hot tag, getting the pin, doing his moves.
Yeah. Great to see Daniel Bryan back. So,
and now he's officially full-time wrestler.
So again. Amazing. We're 100% on that. Next on, Nia Jax finally wins the Women's Championship. It eluded her in NXT. She finally gets it on Monday Night Raw, beating Alexa Bliss in a fun match.
I thought it was good. I thought it made sense. The offense they gave Alexa Bliss made sense, breaking her eyes, getting the legs, like sweep the leg, Johnny. Very, very Karate Kid of them. And I liked it. I thought it really worked out. I think it sucks because you have to follow the other women's match and then Ronda Rousey too. So you're kind of like yeah, you were the third women's match at the same time. Like,
But
they were all good.
They
like,
were the higher end matches of the night.
I would say so.
Yeah, so I'm
Easily.
shout out to the ladies again. And here's the thing too: there's a lot of haters that say, "Oh, people only say that because it's the women." We will tell it when it's bad matches. Like we have
Nia
no problem.
Jax did great.
It
Alexa
was
Bliss
great
is
match.
great.
The women had the best matches.
The Raw build-up was better than all the other build-ups.
I totally
obviously
agree.
we didn't get a build-up for SmackDown, but
Now, talk about a match that had all the hype that I don't think necessarily lived up to it on purpose. Now, looking back at it, AJ Styles beats Shinsuke Nakamura. Shinsuke, the second time he's
they're
gone for a
saving
title,
some. But
isn't
the problem
winning.
with me with their like I know you say like they're saving some, but like they tried doing that with Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
And they never really delivered eventually. Like, it's like we got a good first and second movie, and then they're like, yeah, we're not going to give you part 3, though. But like, but then like part 1 and 2 kind of suck because we need part 3 to kind of finish it.
Yeah.
It'd be like if you got the first 2 Lord of the Rings and they're like, you know what, we're not going to give you Return of the King. Where it's like, well, then
That's
the
the
whole
one I
season,
needed,
it's not
yeah.
legendary then. Like, it's good. It's not legendary, though. It's not where I want it to be because it needs a closing.
SummerSlam 2018 will be main evented by AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, and Shinsuke Nakamura. Whether it closes the show, it's different. That will be the main event of that show.
Yeah. It all depends where you put Reign. Like I said, if Reign wins the title in Dubai, then I think that's going to kind of
He
start
close-
taking that second.
yeah,
I think that's going to start taking the secondary spot.
Really?
Daniel Bryan's a closer. But how do we know? Like, Daniel Bryan can be moved to Raw next week.
See, that's the point. But I'm obviously
I
dream
think
booking,
because
but
at this point, you're like, you think
we'll get to
realistically.
that. Save that
Yeah.
thought. You know what? Save those thoughts about the
But
shake-up.
I
just a
thought it
little
was
bit.
great. Like, you know me, I don't love Shinsuke. I don't think I thought that he's bad. I don't even think at NXT, like, he's what he was supposed to be. He was a cool entrance.
Triple H got a lot out of him in NXT.
He was a cool entrance.
And he had great people to work with
But I
who
think,
understood
like,
his style.
He's out in 2 days. I'm like, wow, I'm such a big Shinsuke fan. He's a great heel.
Because he can control the match, and the match is his point.
Again,
Yeah.
like, people always say, like, he's just stupid facials. I'm like, the facials make sense. Like, shout out to Harloff doing his first wrestling podcast.
Yeah. Collider, they're doing some great stuff over on Podcast One. Check them out.
Like,
yeah.
like, he is, like, I felt the exact same. Like, he's just a goofy dude. Like, why am I supposed to like him? And then when you think him as a heel, you're like, nah, I kind of like him as a heel, though. Like,
Yeah.
he's just some dick, like, making stupid faces, shaking his hands, like, cocky little
Who knows
prick,
he's
like,
good and he could knock you out. And,
like, you know,
there is
he,
something
like,
to
I
that.
love his, like, no speaking English. Like,
To
I'm
Renee
like,
Young.
Oh, that was great.
And you can't pick on Renee Young. You can't pick on Renee Young. That's a rule in wrestling.
I
It's
like that was
if you're a
awesome.
heel, you pick on Renee Young because everybody loves
like,
her.
it was
So
great. So
great
I
way.
love him as a heel. So the ending made it like, oh no, I'm good. I'm back
The
on
ending
board.
was great. Turning on AJ
The whole
and then on,
night,
and
yelling,
on
hit him
two-
in the dick.
Right.
And
then-
I just kept yelling that every match. So I'm glad it finally
Finally
paid off for one of them.
Just so I wound up and I kicked them in the ding ding. So yeah, great job by both guys, and they're a great place to put it because the next match I didn't even want to say it was the worst match. To me, at the point we were watching it, I was just, let's get it going, guys. Let's get it over with. I'm ready to get to the main event. But Braun Strowman and Nicholas win the tag team titles over the
No,
Cesaro.
here's my thing about that.
Just Sheamus.
Because I had to sleep on that one. And I like started listening to a lot of people the next day. And I like what they did. Because I do appreciate the kid things. You hear a lot of parents saying, you know, the kids got, every kid in the audience and at home got a great reaction.
I
from seeing
agree.
the kid
I'm
in
not
there.
hating on that.
I think you should have maybe switched the matches.
Yep.
I think the placement right before the main event is what threw it off. Had you thrown it maybe like 2 matches before, like even the women's match, give us a normal match there, kind of like get us back to normal. It's just that, like, because we were laughing the whole time because it was such a weird
funny.
thing.
Yeah, it was.
And again, you appreciate it. Like,
Yeah.
you can appreciate parents appreciating it, kids appreciating it. You're like, no, that was for the kids.
Yeah.
To be like, hey, look at that kid. He's in there. I can be a wrestler
And we
one
know
day.
Braun Strowman's full babyface. So the idea
Yeah.
is like you could grow up to be this big guy. Remember when Hogan? Imagine if Hulk Hogan did that.
Oh my God, I love on Monday Night Raw when he's just like, hey, where's Nicholas? He's been right here the whole time. He just moves aside. I'm like, okay, that's hilarious.
Yeah,
like,
it's
Braun, you're funny. I like you, dude. You're a funny guy.
He's got prior arrangements. The 4th grade, and
Like,
then even
like he was fun. Like he went full face on us, and I love it. I guess like the only way that match stays where it is if we get a big return. And the fact that we didn't get a big return to me, I'm like, you could have moved that match back. Let us have Shinsuke go heel, and then let's go to the match.
right. Or if you, we'll get to the
We're
main
in the
event.
women's
Or
match.
maybe he should have main evented. Maybe he should have been in the main event after everything you've been able to. Maybe he should have been in the main event. But we get to it. It's a Universal Championship match. Literally 4.5 years worth of storytelling ends with Brock Lesnar elbowing Roman Reigns, bloodying him up, F5ing him after 6 just to troll the fans to, make you think he actually might lose the match. And Brock Lesnar's your Universal Champion until we get to the greatest Royal Rumble ever.
Well, and then now you find out that he went off script and like, because even at the end we're like, man, that didn't feel right. That felt icky. Like, and like that's the reason because it wasn't scripted like that. It was supposed. He went full off in the cage and like, and then we realized like the WWE fans were like, I don't think we want elbows like that, dude. Like we don't. Like that's not what we're watching this for. Like we'll watch UFC if we want to see shit like that, but like. But even then, like, you don't see a dude just lay there taking it. Like, they'll stop the match if he's just laying there taking it. But, like, we don't want to see that. Like, we don't, it's not the Attitude Era anymore. Like, we do know about all this stuff. Like, I don't want to see chair shots to the head. I don't need, and if you do, you're not watching for the right reason.
It's like watching hockey for the
I
fights.
do like the last 3 minutes where Roman went full Samoan Dynasty on us and just went crazy with the blood. So, because I thought, like, that would have been a cool ending. Like, let him win then. Get him, like, 7 spears, blood on his face. But I guess if we find out that all this was Lesnar getting more money and he's going to drop in Dubai, I'm going to be kind of upset. Because I'm going to be kind of like, well, then what was the whole point of like the mess? Like, we could have just put Braun there then.
Yeah, and that's where I get in all this. It's like, you could have given Cesaro and Sheamus a 10-minute match and you just could have given Braun the opportunity to.
Like, yeah, let him fight the Revival. Or,
right.
Like, I don't know.
And it could have been anything. So that kind of bums me out.
Mercado Airwaves is brought to you by supporters at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. If you would like to support Mercado Airwaves, visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Find us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. Keep up to date with the show on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. You can follow Alex on Twitter at Mercado21Alex. Follow Mike on Twitter at mmercado2333 and on Instagram, Mike Mercado 2333.
I guess it just is one of those things where at the end of the day, McMahon and the writing staff and all them, when you think you know what they're going to do, they do their best to swerve you on it, quote unquote. And maybe not even swerve, but change your mind for just a week to make you think to forget about it. And then they'll flip it on you back to the way it's supposed to be next
reactions, week. Like, he's like, they're not, like, there's nothing WWE can do. We've proven now. There's nothing WWE can do that's going to get Roman cheered.
Not like Cena.
Except for one thing.
Turn him heel.
No, put him in, well, yeah, but like.
Or put him in the Shield.
When he's with the Shield.
With the Shield, yeah.
When he's with the Shield. That's the only time he's going to get a face reaction.
Now, I will say this. I've been to a lot of shows. I've seen Roman a lot of times. Gets a reaction. That stadium is hot when he comes out. But it's not John Cena. It's not Hogan. It's not Austin. It's not bad. It's still the best in the company. But the company, unfortunately, though, does not have its Cena yet. It will. They will find him. Of course they will. They'll build him. It just so happened that Reigns just couldn't get to Cena level. But
it's close. Like, they got close. Like, there was a good beginning. Yeah. You're like, man, we got this, and then they just kind of dropped the ball a little bit.
I think Roman Reigns is a great worker. I think he's a cool character. I think he has all the potential in the world. He tries hard. He's got the look. But the character is not what he needs to be. Terminator. Yeah. He needs to be Braun Strowman if he's going to be portrayed that way. But you know, when you make him a sympathetic babyface, and then you have Finn Balor abusing him up, and then it's they're making it seem like
who's going to get these hands?
So, anyway, though, but your final thoughts. Your final thoughts of WrestleMania 34.
That's it, just a Braun Strowman scream.
Braun Strowman scream. I really enjoyed it.
I love Braun. Like I just mentioned, I really do love Braun Strowman.
I don't like Braun Strowman. I think
how he's so over. Like he's over, bro.
Yeah, he's over, bro.
He's gonna get these hands.
Any thoughts about then the next two nights? We have call-ups of
better
AOP.
Than WrestleMania was probably the worst thing of the whole weekend.
Yeah. So let's get to some of the call-ups. We have AOP coming up, leaving Paul Ellering. You have
for now.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, if
I got a feeling they lose, like they somehow lose next week because of like disqualification or something, and then they're gonna have to bring him back. And be like, okay, you need me, like, because I think that's what's gonna happen. Like my guess is they're gonna get this like disqualified, or they're gonna be out for too long. They're gonna whoop too much ass. Because I think this is leading to Hardy and Wyatt getting the titles.
Yes, I agree.
So then I think the only way to do it is like AOP. You're like, oh, like hey, like. We fucked up. Like we need you back. Like we need you managing and like helping us, like to control us, make those dumb decisions. Because I think they get the best way to do it is get them disqualified. Let them just beat them so bad that you're like, oh man, like that's. Oh wait, no, they're not even in the tournament thing, are they?
No.
Well then
Hardy and Wyatt already won. They're gonna go against Cesaro and Sheamus.
No, they're going against Revival to see who goes. Okay. Remember it was that,
Sorry.
But they weren't in it, which is weird to me. They probably should have been. So they're gonna. I don't know. They're going to bring him back. I don't think they're leaving.
My thoughts? I think McMahon is like, God damn it! I don't want that old man on my television.
Oh, Famer.
Yeah. So I agree, but he doesn't want old man on that television, so he's gonna put
He'll go
AOP by
back down
themselves.
and manage War Machine or something.
It could be anything like that. So you have that. We see Ember Moon come up and pins Alexa Bliss. Going to be interesting. We had a feeling Ember Moon was just fast track.
Because you got to think, I think a lot of these bring ups were just so when they do the shake up, it'll be easier. Like they did, because SmackDown's only 2 hours, so 'cause I can see Ember Moon being on SmackDown. I can see them bringing up a few people and being like, you know what, you're probably gonna be SmackDown. Like we brought you up on Raw, but there's gonna be a shake up next week anyway. Because all they really brought up on SmackDown was Iconic Duel, and that was really more just to make Charlotte lose her title. Yeah. So
and Charlotte obviously loses her WWE Women's Champion.
We got Bobby Lashley back.
Bobby Lashley comes back, beats up on Elias. We did not get the moment where we thought Paul Heyman would be out there, or Roman Reigns would be out there, and we would hear the Bobby Lashley intro. But we do have a serious player in when it comes to what WWE likes and its superstars.
Yeah, No Way Jose.
So yeah, No Way Jose.
God,
exactly.
Another Fandango,
yeah, so we'll see. Don't hate on Fandango though, because Fashion Police could be something if they actually did it.
No, it's not. But that's what I'm saying. It can't be something. It's
and then obviously, and to me, one of the coolest ways to really solidify Shinsuke beating up both on Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles.
Daniel Bryan knee in the back of the head, 2 nut shots to AJ with 2 Kenjas.
So
he's got a nice little red top, no speaking English. Like he stole the night. He was great.
So. And we'll see Kurt Angle with maybe the line of the night with her TNA is hiring. So
the Battle Royal, we got obviously Kurt's going to be in it. Daniel Bryan's going to be in it. Like
we have a very
they're going full out for this Dubai thing. Like it's going to be a fun show.
And they're offering it on the network. So like I said,
that's what helps. Like if they don't offer it on the network, then you know nothing's happening. When they offer it, you're like, we're going to maybe at least get 1 or 2 great things.
So we'll see how that plays out.
Because like maybe they can start being like, hey, this could get a title chance and Daniel Bryan's going to insert himself to a championship match because I think, can we finally get Daniel Bryan winning a goddamn Royal Rumble or what?
We'll see. That's
because they've been pushing it for like 7 years. Can we get a Royal Rumble win for Daniel Bryan or no?
It could happen. If any place, it could be on a place where they're trying to sell it to another market to sell the network on. So we'll take a look, and if it ends up being something, we'll mention it on the show. But Alex, all in all, it was a fun wrestling weekend, a fun WrestleMania weekend. But it did not end there. We got to see something that premiered just yesterday on HBO, the Andre the Giant documentary.
Ooh.
What were your thoughts?
Oh, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, so when I first turned it on, because I just watched Paterno, which, quick thing, Paterno, watch it, very good.
Watch it, yeah.
Pacino was great, another HBO biopic. But Andre, so that one's about an hour 50, and I get to Andre, and it's like an hour 20 something. I'm like, wow, that is really short. I'm like, not a good story, HBO. It does not feel hard. It feels like 3 hours because it is just
flies,
they give you so much. It's a good fly. Like there's never a dull moment. Like it even gets to a middle part where they get a lot of Hogan in there, but you're like they needed that because Hogan and Andre are so. You're like, man, that's like a 15-minute Hogan documentary. But guess what, guys? Hogan and Andre were.
That was the turn. That was the moment.
Like David and Goliath. Like that's the guys. Like you can't tell the story without one. That's like saying Luke Skywalker without Darth Vader. Like,
now let me ask you this.
You need that. And it was amazing documentary. They talked to the family. They talked to his handler. The people at Princess Bride. McMahon being. They was like the most honest McMahon we've ever had.
It was weird.
Like it wasn't like McMahon didn't come off looking great.
It wasn't like,
but he didn't come off looking bad. No, he
looked real.
He looked real. It was like like hey, like Andre blames me a lot for this, and he's like, yeah, he kind of owns up to it. It's like it's the business. Like you got to move on, and this happens, and like Andre felt this, and they hadn't talked in a very long time, and
then Bruce Pritchard on his show will tell you about how he feels Vince feels betrayed at some points, and so does Andre.
He kind of gives you that. Like they both feel betrayed. He's like, you left me. At the same time, he's like, well, you moved on without me, and very human. It was very human.
That's
probably the most human we've seen them. Like you get goods from Shane, you get a lot of Hogan. Flair's hilarious as always. Flair's throwing down.
He had 24-inch rings, huh? You feel me? He's like, I like Rick. Literally, Ric Flair had me rolling, laughing out loud.
Just comedic humor. Yeah. Mean Gene's great.
Mean Gene was great. The referee,
Billy Crystal was there.
Billy Crystal.
They got everyone. They got pretty much everyone that like he did everything like about the movie because I got more of an insight outside of wrestling of how much pain he really was in and like
so sad.
And that's a sad part because at the time it's like. Nowadays everyone can be comfortable in this world. Like they make everything for everyone. Like big, small, gay, straight,
it doesn't
alien,
matter.
Not alien.
Yeah.
Like
you could get accessibility
to anything. But back then, like you couldn't. Like him having to sit on a plane and like him always having to squat down and like the sad part, like him having to live in hotels where they don't have beds big enough for him. And you're like, man, dude, like this guy did like, and you know, like you find out how sensitive he really was. Like he didn't want to be a heel necessarily. He did it because it was best for business.
Right, but he wanted to be loved.
He liked being cheered.
Yeah.
He liked laughing. He liked having fun.
But then it was also funny though, where like there's one point in the documentary where Vince says, "Well, he wanted to bust balls with Hogan, and I'm gonna go along because it's Andre."
Yeah,
and it's like Andre was one of the only people who he was the person who controlled wrestling, and people want to say Hogan is the first guy to really like that doesn't work for me, brother.
But like there was two people Hogan would ever listen to: McMahon and Andre. That's it.
And I think Andre was because he could stop you from doing anything. Yep. Like you didn't have a choice.
He was like he's the modern day Taker, I would say. Like he runs the back. Like that's his back. Like
like that's my locker
he's
room.
the boss basically. Like he's the boss without having to be the boss, but he's the boss.
Now let me ask you this: the documentary was phenomenal. You know, you feel every human emotion. Do you think it was Andre a good man?
Yeah.
Do you think Andre was
I think he was human. I did the other day because they talk about his daughter and like
how she.
I think he was just a very human man. Like if someone like her can say he's a good man, like there was not one bad thing. Like he was a man with a timeline. He was a man that knew he wasn't going to live forever. Yeah. He did what he loved. He never wanted to be normal. He wanted to be bigger than life. Whether that was better for him or not good for him, because he did refuse a lot of treatment toward the end. Like he probably could have surpassed his life a little bit longer, but he didn't want to. Like he was, you know, he starts losing it at the end there, and he's very human.
I think there was a great line where they talk about how he's one of those people who, while he was a living myth, like a myth was building while he was alive, and the mythology has outgrown.
Mofo need a top party.
Really fast before we move on to Paige also retired. So shout out to Paige.
Manager, good.
Yeah, general manager.
That's fun, dude. Like that's exactly where she needs to be. Like I think that's great for her. Like, especially since Daniel Bryan just could tell you, like, you know what, Paige?
Yeah,
come on in.
Yours. Yeah, and just shout out to her. She's a wonderful worker.
Oh, she was great.
Rough, terrible bullshit last few years for her that she's had to deal with, but I'm glad to
Hall
see
of Famer,
that.
Nonetheless.
So she'll move on.
Was she the youngest champion for women, something like that?
So she'll move on. She'll do great things with whatever she does. But back to Andre, must watch. Alex even mentioned it. Paternal. I'm gonna watch it. Must watch as well. HBO.
They got Fahrenheit 451 coming out with B. Jordan and Michael Shannon.
So it's gonna be
really good. Let's see other.
So let's get into it. It was a busy weekend, capped off by SmackDown, and then a nice icing on the cake with the Andre the Giant documentary.
I mean, it was busy all in all because before we get to the bigger news, get some little quick hits here. Quiet Place did amazing, a lot of records. Must see, go see it, people. Ready Player One getting a little divided in the middle of diehard fans, kid movie. I say go see it and make your own decision because regardless, it's a great movie.
Yeah, so
whether you like it compared to the book or not is a different subject. As a movie, it's making money and it was good. Yeah, Rampage coming out this weekend. Trailer
next week.
Trailer for the mag that looks kind of okay.
I am excited. I heard the international trailer is better than the United States trailer. Obviously, Super Troopers on April 20th next week. And then a week after that, we've been talking about it since the show started. Infinity War is right down the corner.
But
Alex.
I'm trying not to think about it because I'm too excited. And like you keep hearing more and more like, man, are they actually gonna give us a big dev?
Yeah,
I still say no, but
we'll get into that. We know we're gonna do a big thing on that. So just again, I'm very excited. I think we're in a genesis of movies like Quiet Place. We've seen it with It. We've seen it with Don't Breathe. We've seen it with Get Out. There's something going on with the horror genre and
a good movie and people will watch. Wow,
it's crazy.
What a crazy concept, DC and the movie monster universe, Transformers. If you make a good Pacific Rim, you make a good movie, people will watch. I think it goes to prove that like with the social media nowadays, word of mouth is probably the best thing you can do is word of mouth.
Yeah,
because let's say Infinity War comes out, it doesn't get as good a word of mouth as maybe a Black Panther. It's not making that extra $30 million.
No. Absolutely not. Like it all comes,
and it's possible. Or Rampage. Look at Rampage this weekend. If it doesn't at least get like, hey, it's fine. It needs to be fine.
It's already Wednesday, and the movie comes out tomorrow, and I have not heard one thing about the movie.
That's fine. It's The Rock. The Rock don't need to do it. And guess what? That movie's gonna be bad. That movie is gonna be fine at best. Yeah. Cool monsters at best. Cool 30 minutes at best. But guess what? That movie's going to make $1 bajillion in
course,
China
in China and everywhere else, yes,
Because guess what? It's a bunch of giant monsters with The Rock. Like, that's literally everything you need.
We get to see Chicago get destroyed. So,
which we got there naming them. I can't wait to get little Easter eggs about the other characters for the new movies. Because there's like 10 characters. But I guess the big movie news we talk about is the new Solo trailer.
So let's get into it, Alex. We were in the middle. We were deep in wrestling. But we had a storm of brewing somewhere in the other half of our people where Solo is taking over the internet during the middle of WrestleMania. I wake up the next morning to get to the radio station. I
couldn't wait. I had to watch it later that night.
It was great. It was
an
fun.
Amazing trailer.
I will say this
much.
I
thought amazing trailer.
I will say this much. The title's really stupid.
No, I think it's great.
What
else are you going to call it?
Just call it Solo.
But they have to call it a Star Wars story. Everyone does.
I get it. I think the Star Wars story is stupid.
So you're just, okay. So in general,
it should have been Solo.
So like Rogue One, you got a problem. Okay, that's different.
But
that's fine. I'll live with that.
I'm so excited for this movie. I love the actors. I'm excited just to see how far they're willing to let the leash go, and how much they're willing to kind of let it breathe.
I think it's gonna be. I think critically and fan wise, it's gonna get better reaction than Last Jedi. It won't make the money Last Jedi did. But I think it's going to be more common, like everyone likes it. I think it looks amazing. Enough member berries for everyone.
And that's the big thing, too. A lot of people are bitching about that it's too heavy on Lando and Chewbacca. But the funny thing is, those Lando and Chewbacca are the fucking story.
The 5% people bitching about that are also the 95% saying, like, no, that's what we want. We want Lando and Chewie in the whole movie.
And so I'm excited for that movie. The big
I'm
thing,
pumped.
I think where I'm getting at this point is, I think there's this weird rivalry brewing, even though it's within the same company, of like Star Wars fans and Marvel fans now. Because I think Star Wars fans, because they're becoming a universe, not just a timeline, but like a universe, they're starting to get that reaction of like, oh, can they do it like Marvel? And then you have the Star Wars fans who are just like the like Marvel fans, where okay, cool.
Like, we've been around for like 50 years, y'all. Like, take it. You've been around for 10. Let's take it back a notch, essay.
And then the vice versa is like, yeah, but you've never done it like we have.
Like, we've done like 30-something movies, and they've all been critically acclaimed.
And there's post when you can think of it, it's like, oh, cool, you're telling me I'm going to get to see Avengers of Infinity War, and then 2 weeks later I get to see. That's how you should be thinking.
You sell $1 bajillion worth of toys. You come talk to us, okay, homie? And we did it in the 70s without the internet.
And you know who's laughing the whole time while you're doing this?
Eisner.
Disney's like, oh boy. So I'm really excited about Solo. It was a really cool trailer. It was better than the first one. Yeah.
Mike.
It was a great trailer. It was a great trailer. But it was better than what was just a good trailer the first time around.
That was a teaser.
Fair enough.
There's a difference.
Fair enough.
Big difference.
Yeah. So, Alex, man, it was a busy week. What else do we got going on? Did you want to hit on?
That should be about it, shouldn't it? All the movies, the other TV. Everything on the CW sucks. Walking Dead sucked. Season finale next week. No one cares, probably.
Season finale of Black Lightning next week.
No one cares. So, yeah, nothing fun on TV until Game of Thrones comes back, I guess.
So April 2019 is what they are saying is the movie, so
Westworld comes back soon. That should be kind of fun. That's about it for me.
Yeah, I think we're about done. So why don't we go ahead and close up shop. Thank you guys so much for making us a part of your day. You can follow us everywhere in the universe.
Be part of your day.
Yeah. Alex is on Twitter at Mercado21 Alex. I'm at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. We're on SoundCloud, Stitcher, iTunes, at Mercado Airwaves. Do us a huge favor on each one of those. Everyone you listen to us, like, rate, review, and give us a comment on the show.
Only
we really appreciate it. Yeah, only good comments. We're too sensitive. We can't have it. No, leave us a comment. It helps us get up and allows people to listen to the show more when they're doing their search. So we really appreciate that. And of course, every one of our shows here on the network is brought to you by our amazing producers at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. If you have a brand you want to bring out to a huge, diverse group of audience throughout our shows, visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. We have a tier just for you. We're also on YouTube. Subscribe to us. Be part of the conversation. YouTube.com/Mike Mercado 2333. For the good brother himself, Alex Mercado.
Deuces.
I'm Mike Mercado. We will see you in the next episode of The Good Brothers here on Mercado Airwaves.
Mercado Airwaves is brought to you by supporters at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. If you would like to support Mercado Airwaves, visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Find us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. Keep up to date with the show on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. You can follow Alex on Twitter at Mercado21Alex. Follow Mike on Twitter at mmercado2333 and on Instagram, Mike Mercado2333. Thanks for joining us here on The Good Brothers, here on Mercado Airwaves.